Google Antigravity just got a massive upgrade because Gemini 3.1 Pro is now the brain powering it. And today we're testing that combination live together. Here's why that matters. Gemini 3.1 Pro just launched today. It nearly doubled in reasoning power overnight. And Google just plugged it straight into Google Antigravity, the free tool where you describe what you want to build and AI agents build it for you, no code required. Now, you've got the most powerful version of Gemini ever released, running inside a tool that builds entire websites, dashboards, and automation systems from a single text prompt. And we're going to find out together what this combination can actually do. We're building real things on screen, testing the limits, and seeing how much smarter the builds get now that 3.1 Pro is under the hood of Google Antigravity. I've also got a 30-day blueprint and 100 prompts you can steal today. Let's get straight into this. So we're going to start using Antigravity. If you haven't got it already, you can get it at antigravity.google. It's a really powerful vibe coding tool. And then once you've done that, you can go over to Google Antigravity, as you can see right here, and just make sure that you've selected 3.1 Pro. Now, you can switch between planning and fast over here, and you can switch between high and low. So there's two different powers, two different versions of Gemini 3.1 Pro. You can also get free access to Claude Sonnet as well, which is another powerful API to use. And then from here, we can start building whatever we want. So if we wanted to build out a new website, for example, let's try that out. We're going to take the website for the AR profit boardroom. We'll go back to Antigravity. We're going to plug this in like so. I'm going to say, okay, create a beautiful new modern landing page for the AI profit boardroom community plus a CTA for this. What then? All right. And then we'll just go with that. Now we can add a blog later. We can add different pages to it later. We can, for example, add MCPs and different skills and that sort of thing as well. But I want to show you an example of what this looks like. If you do want to add multiple skills to Antigravity to make it even better and augment it using Gemini 3.1 Pro, what you can actually do is you can go to something like GitHub, and you do need to be careful when you install these skills, by the way. But if you go to So you always want to check them first before you install them, check the MD files, etc. But for example, if we go to GitHub here, you can see there's loads of different skills that we can use, for example, inside Antigravity, right? So for example, here we have awesome Claude skills, but you can actually plug that into Antigravity as well, just to make it much more powerful. So for example, like a changelog generator or artifacts builder, etc. Now, there's actually something called Antigravity Kit. You can see an example of that right here. And if you want to install something like this, which gives you way more skills to improve the quality of your outputs, then you can just go back to Antigravity and ask it to install it, right? So for example, here you can say, okay, install these agent skills globally, and then that will start doing it, right? Now, in the meantime, you can see this is still thinking. So it does seem quite slow in the way that it's producing outputs. I would expect the quality to be better, but maybe the outputs and the quality of them are also a lot slower because it's better at reasoning. So you can see, for example, it's been thinking for nearly 100 seconds now, and we have nothing back yet, but you know, it takes time, I guess. And then if we go back to Antigravity here, we've got two different windows open, right? So you can code multiple different projects at the same time using this. Like you can see, we're now getting the HTML back from this, as well as the CSS and JS too. We'll see what we get back in a sec. So now we've created the website with Antigravity. What we can actually do is tell it to open up. And it should use the AI agent to actually open up a browser and then check this out, right? So if we click on run now it's going to open up the page, as you can see, and this is the new page that we have for the AI profit boardroom. Now, if we actually open this up, I can compare side by side the page created via Claude Sonnet versus the page created with Gemini 3.1 Pro. And if I compare them side by side, I think I still prefer the option from Sonnet. But bear in mind, like, you can always go back to Antigravity and say, like, improve this, make it more modern, make it more sleek, etc. Right? So we can go inside here and say, improve this, make it more modern, plus interesting, etc. Now, bear in mind, if you're using Antigravity for free as well, it will use up token limits, which means that you hit limits and therefore you have to switch between APIs. If that happens, you can always switch between 3.1 Pro and High if you run out of tokens, or you could just switch to the old model. Now, one way to use this for free is maybe like you create the base with 3 Pro and then you use 3.1 Pro to actually add more details or to improve and tweak the project later. That way you run out of tokens slower and you can use it for free for longer. We can also test out high here too. So if we take the exact same prompt for creating the website here, and we go back to Antigravity, and this was using 3.1. This was actually using 3.1 Pro High. So we'll test out whether there's a big difference between low and high here. We open up this window using exactly the same prompt, but we're going to use Gemini 3.1 Pro Low and just see, is there a big difference between them? Does it make a difference using the low ones, etc.? We'll have a look. Now we've got the new version of the website based on the iterations we asked it to run. And so let's compare these side by side. This is the first version, so V1 from Gemini 3.1 Pro, and this is version 2. And you can see it does look more interesting. Like if we compare this side by side, you know, if you compare this versus this, it does look more interesting on the right hand side. It's got like these nice animations, it's added nicer graphics, the layout is nicer, it looks a lot more modern, and it's got the CTA to join the app off of boredom as well. So overall, you know, even if you don't like the first version that you get back from Antigravity, you can always tweak it, ask it to make it more modern, interesting, beautiful, etc. And then the iteration looks much better, right? Yeah. And then also it will give you the notes here. So that's basically how you can use Antigravity for free with Google 3.1. And if you want to install these kits, like you can see here, for example, we've installed the Antigravity Kit 2.0. And it says I've successfully installed it. Here's what I've done. And it's added all 37 skills, agent personas, and workflows, right? So that means that Antigravity now we've got Gemini 3.1 Pro and we've got Antigravity Kit 2.0, which is just going to make it much more powerful. The final little improvement that you can make to Antigravity to just make it a lot better is you can add MCPs. Now, MCPs connect Antigravity to external tools. So for example, if you wanted to create a website and then deploy it using something like Netlify, all you do is you install the MCP for Netlify, connect your personal access token, and then any projects that you build with Google Antigravity, you can deploy to a custom domain or to a subdomain quickly using Netlify, right? So that's the other option that you have to just make it much better. So if we click on install here, we'll click save, and we just need to get our personal access token. I'm not going to do that on the live stream, but you can just insert it here, and then that will be added inside Netlify directly. Another little hack that you can use as well to just make this a lot better is you can go over to Skillboss, download the zip file from Skillboss, insert that into Antigravity and ask it to install it. And then it can generate images, it can generate videos, and it connects you to like 50 different APIs as well. So that's a pretty powerful way. It can even help you generate voice notes and podcasts using Antigravity as well. So that's via skillboss.co. Is there a way once the code is generated to be able to bring it into a web builder like Go High Level and still edit it there? Yeah, so you can just copy the HTML and then plug it in as a HTML block inside Go High Level. That's the way that you do it. For SEO, which one for beginner? Yeah, so if you want to do SEO, you can do SEO with Google Antigravity, and you can actually save that as a workflow as well, right? So for example, if we go back to Antigravity here, and let's say, for example, we have that project with our website set up, which is this one here, right? Well, we can say, okay, add a blog plus create an SEO optimized article for what automation, something like that, right? And then what you can do is you can actually create SEO optimized articles inside the project that you build using Google Antigravity and Gemini 3.1 Pro using this process as well. And also if you typed in something like save this as a workflow, so once you've completed the workflow, ask Antigravity to save it, that'll actually save the workflow inside Antigravity so you can use it again in the future too. So there's just so much you can do with this. Antigravity is one of my favorite tools, probably my favorite tool for vibe coding, just because it's so simple. You get access to lots of good APIs. It's easy to use, and also the outputs are pretty good, as you've seen today. So thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, check out the AI Profit Boarding. We actually have loads of trainings on Antigravity. So if you type in Antigravity in the search bar, for example, you can see that we have a bunch of trainings and video tutorials as you scroll down. Here's some examples. So we have a full step-by-step guide here, here, and here for using Antigravity. The other cool thing that you can do is if you go to the classroom here, then go to SEO updates, we add new daily updates inside here with new guides and video tutorials all the time. Now, if you go to 20th of February, today, for Google Antigravity, you'll find all the video notes, a full 30-day roadmap, a custom framework for using Google Antigravity with Gemini 3.1 Pro, and then also 100 prompts on how to use this stuff as well that you can just copy and paste into Antigravity to build whatever you want. Now, let's run through some limiting beliefs, okay? Because here's the truth. The tools aren't the reason most people fail with AI, the beliefs are. So before you build anything, let's start and deal with some of the stories that some people tell themselves that stop them from using this stuff, right? So some people think, I need to know how to code to use these tools. Really, you just need to know what to describe. When an anti-gravity agent builds a full landing page from a single text prompt, no keyboard shortcuts, no syntax, no terminal commands are required from you. And literally, the shift isn't technical. You don't need to learn to code. You just need to learn to direct. Think of yourself as a director of a film, right? You don't operate the camera. You don't write the screenplay from scratch. You just describe exactly what you want, and the agents go off and build it. Also, some people say, well, these tools are too expensive for me, but Google just made the most powerful agent IDE on Earth completely free, right? Anti-gravity is free as long as you stick within the token limits. Gemini 3.1 Pro is free via anti-gravity and also AI Studio. So, you know, the era of needing expensive tools to do this stuff is gone, right? You can do this stuff for free as long as you're willing to stick within the token limits. The old belief as well is like, I'm too late, everyone is already doing this. But Gemini 3.1 Pro just dropped today. This is as early as you can possibly get, right? Gemini 3.1 Pro was announced on February the 19th, 2026. Anti-gravity launched in November 2025. These are not mature platforms with millions of people already maximizing them. And the early adopters are really just getting started. So every person who went to bed last night thinking, I'll look at AI tomorrow, woke up today already behind the people in this room. And tomorrow they'll wake up behind you if you learn how to leverage stuff like this. So feel free to get everything that I've talked about today inside the AI Profit Boardroom.